Hello, everybody. I'm Rosana Mello, and I'm here with my business partner, Bex. And today we are going to talk about what people usually miss from home when they are in their work holiday visa and in their work and travel program in New Zealand. And I guess this is a topic that could be interesting for people to know so they know how to be prepared, what do they need to take with them, and how things work in New Zealand. To start, Bex, what do they need to have in their luggage that you think, that you believe is difficult to find in New Zealand from their home country?
Generally, now I think the world's sort of become so global, and we literally, we have anything you need for life in New Zealand. We're not we have everything that will get you through every day and every night that you're living here. However, there will be food items that may be very specific that you love that you might not be able to find in New Zealand, or specific toiletries. I really think those are two things that maybe, might be something that you're going to really miss from your home country. So you might want to bring, some of that with you. Otherwise, we really can sort of get everything else that
Yeah,
you
I
need.
think like you're
Yeah.
right. Today is so easy to find everything, but
Yeah.
what happening is like the taste is a little bit different. And I
Yeah.
remember when I went to New Zealand for the first time, I remember to drink like Coca-Cola, and that was so different because the way they make it in Brazil is a little bit sweeter. So
Of
the
course it.
taste, yeah, is totally different. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really interesting. And I remember when I was living with a German girl as well. She was crazy about some sort of tomato sauce that she said that was only made in German. And I was like, how come tomato sauce is like
Yeah. Well, we
tomato?
get that.
Should be the
Yeah.
same, right?
No, but it's not. It's very different around the world. Your tomato sauce or ketchup in America, US versus Canada versus the UK versus Australia versus New Zealand. Yeah,
Yeah.
people have opinions on these things. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you tend to think that it's all the same, and
Yeah.
like Coca-Cola, oh my gosh, it's all the same, but no, it's not. And I remember when I was traveling as well. I think I was in Vietnam, and I went and I bought a Red Bull. Oh my gosh, I couldn't drink it. It was so sweet. I saw it was like half sugar and
Yeah.
different from like everywhere I've been. It
Mm,
was
yeah.
crazy. And yeah, and I think I understood that, oh, okay, people, they like different things. And
Yeah.
probably that's why we miss stuff from home sometime. And
Yeah. And I think you do miss things from home, but I also think, and I always say this to people too, remember the reason you're going, the whole point of going to a new country on a working holiday is to try something new.
that,
And because you want to experience a different culture, and part of that is the food and is the surroundings and is the language and the everything that's going on. And food is such a huge part of every day, and
yeah,
it's a huge part of cultures. I know, you're from Brazil, and it's all about big gatherings and food and all of that stuff. The same in New Zealand in lots of ways. So yeah, you want to really embrace. It's totally fine to miss things, but yeah, we've got some beautiful, beautiful food in New Zealand. So you're going to be okay, is what I'm trying to say. You'll be able to try new things and have new favorites, which is always exciting and fun.
yeah.
And then you can take those things back home to show your friends and family when you return.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I totally agree. I think like that's the beauty of it. It's just test and
Yeah.
I don't know, improve your palate and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, but
Yeah.
if you really, really like that tomato sauce, really like.
Yeah,
Just
if
put
you
it in the
cannot
luggage. Yeah,
use any other brand, bring it with you. But put it
yeah,
in a Ziploc bag in your luggage so that if it breaks open, it
yeah.
doesn't go through your luggage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think like in my mind, like tomato sauce, there are so many different brands. I guess you might find one that is similar. Probably is
yeah,
not the same, but is
yeah,
similar. I found over the years that I could actually make pretty much everything I wanted in New Zealand. It's
yeah,
just getting like, oh, that brand tastes similar.
yeah,
This one, if I add something, is going to be same. So you
yeah,
kind of adapt if you really
yeah, you do.
want to remember the flavors or to have a special day. Somehow like, oh, it's my birthday. I really want to eat that thing, and you
Yeah,
can always find a way to make it. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. And
yeah.
then like in these terms, there are like a really big question: can they bring food to New Zealand?
You can bring some food, but you have to be really careful when you enter New Zealand. They're going to talk to you on the airplane about it. They're going to give you documentation when you land because we're an island nation. We're really strict on our borders in terms of protecting our borders against pests coming in. And when we talk about pests, we're talking about, say you might try to bring fresh fruit in, and there might be a little fly or bug inside that fresh fruit, gets into New Zealand, it suddenly multiplies, and then it's out into our environment and it starts killing off our kiwi fruit, which is one of our biggest export earners, you know. So that's the reason why we're so strict. So the restrictions on the border are you cannot bring any fresh fruit. So if you put apples in your bag to eat on the plane and you forget to eat them, you're going to get fined when you arrive a lot of money for bringing fresh fruit in. Bananas, a big thing, you know. I know people who've been fined $200 for forgetting about a banana in the bottom of their bag. So you can't bring fresh fruit or vegetables. You cannot bring meat or, you know, poultry or any kind of, you can't bring honey. You can't bring anything that's made of wood that hasn't been treated. There's also any traditional herbal medicines, anything like that. I would not don't try and bring in things like loose tea or, you know, any nuts or anything like that. You could bring like a bottle of tomato sauce, just to use that example, that's pre-made, fully packaged. You'll be able to bring that in, but you'll have to declare it when you come in and say, I have tomato sauce in my bag. They might ask to check it, but, you know, if not, then they won't. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely all that stuff you can't bring in. And then the other thing, just while we're talking about the border and when you come across the border, the other thing that people always get caught up with is sports shoes or outdoors shoes that you might have been hiking 3 days ago in the bush or the outdoors in your home country or somewhere on the way. You'll get stopped because they need to be clean, and they'll hold you up in customs for hours while they check and then clean your shoes and make sure you're not bringing any pests across the border. So yeah, just a top tip. Yeah, clean your shoes really well before you come in, otherwise you'll get fined. So yeah,
Quite funny, but it's true.
yeah, I've seen it happen so many
Yeah.
times. So yeah,
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 and I would say for in regards to bringing food, it's pretty much like stuff that are manufactured and like
yeah,
in
yeah.
a
Yeah, chocolates and
tin
sweets and
or
confectionery,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that kind of stuff will be fine.
yeah,
But anything fresh
yeah,
or untreated, no, you can't bring
yeah.
that.
I guess it needs to be safe, needs to have label, like just describing the ingredients, and it's really well kept, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
you're gonna be fine. But
yeah,
what
yeah,
Bex said is pretty true. I've once came home, and when I was going back to New Zealand, I had some stuff in my luggage, and I had no idea like that meat wasn't allowed, and it was like dry
Yeah,
meat.
can't
So I
bring it
thought was
through.
okay because it was like manufactured and was sealed, and there was label on it. But once, of course, I declared everything, and then they just asked to see it, and they throw my thing away. They throw my
Yeah,
meat away,
yeah,
just like
yeah,
in the rubbish. They
yeah,
actually asked me if I wanted to send it back home, and there was no, like,
yeah,
it didn't make any sense. I would have to pay to send my meat back home. And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
he said the other option would be just throw away. And I remember I literally felt like open and bite it before I
yeah,
throw in the rubbish. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and they did throw just,
Yeah, they throw it away. They need to dispose of it and keep it
yeah,
on the,
yeah.
not in the country. So yeah,
Yeah, they've done it in front of me, and of course I never uh, like have done it again, because
yeah,
now I know that is not
yeah,
allowed. And
mhm,
yeah, so it's just make sure I think in the immigration website is everything there. If you are
yeah,
unsure if you can take
yeah,
something or not, it's just go
yeah.
there. And
There. And on
yeah,
the New Zealand Customs website, there's a really clear list, and it tells you, exactly what is okay and what isn't. So, yeah,
yeah, and I think as long as you declare everything once you are like getting in, it's okay. You won't get fined if you declare I have this and the thing
yeah,
is not allowed. That's fine. They're just going to talk to you and
yeah.
maybe throw away, but you won't get fined. So that's okay.
If you don't declare it, they have gorgeous little dogs that are trained to sniff out any kind of food. They're drug dogs as well, and their job is to smell if you've got a banana in your bag, or if had some processed meat you were trying to bring in but you didn't
Yeah,
declare. So if
yeah,
they will get you, they are incredibly
yeah.
smart and intelligent. Yeah, and
That,
they're very cute, but
that's how
they're
they
working
find
dogs.
that's how they find that missing apple in the bags, right? Just the
Yeah,
dog.
they smell it. They're up on you,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
easy for them, really.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
it is.
And then, like, can they find typical food in New Zealand? We know the supermarkets, they sell lots of brands and
Yeah,
different
they
sort
do.
of food,
Yeah,
but is
yeah,
there like a possibility of finding typical food?
yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot more. The more and more globalized that we've become, and New Zealand is this incredible melting pot of cultures. And we have so many different nationalities that have made New Zealand their home. And so there's an aisle, the two supermarkets that I shop in a lot, they have an aisle and they call it the international aisle. And it's a section where there's I'm just trying to think because I don't often buy stuff from that, but there's British brands of things. So they've got their specific baked beans and their specific, tomato sauce and their different candy and cookies and so on. And then there's, a Japanese section. There's a South African section. There's some European foodstuffs as well. I'm not going to name the countries because I can't remember which ones, but it's not massively extensive, but you can get some really good everyday items. Then there's other specialty shops all around the country, and you can go online and check out where they might be. And that could be something you might do. On one of our last videos we talked about activities to do, although I don't think a great activity in New Zealand is to spend your whole time trying to find food from your home country, but it could be fun if you're living there for a long time and you want to go and find this German shop that's sort of in the middle of nowhere. In Auckland there's a huge shop called Martha's Vineyard, or Martha's Backyard, and it's a USA shop, so it has all the US brands of everything, but they also ship everywhere. There's German, delicatessens and bakeries. There's one bakery in Auckland, I know they get their pretzel dough shipped frozen from Germany, so it's proper German
Oh,
frozen pretzel dough, and it really is like a taste of home.
mhm.
So yeah, you just need to seek it out. And also There's so many different food trucks and festivals, and also pop-ups, and all these different places to eat, particularly in the bigger cities where there's a much more multicultural, population going on. I live in Auckland, and I follow different foodie websites and e-newsletters and Facebook pages and so on, and it's just there's all this different stuff coming up all the time. So yeah, you really can find what you need. Yeah,
I think like Auckland is pretty like multicultural. It's like
yeah,
just is so cosmopolitan that if you go down the Queen Street, that is the main road in the city, you see restaurants from all over the world. It's just funny because you can go Chinese, Thai, Japanese, Turkish restaurants, lots of Mediterranean and Greek. And I'm just trying to remember here because
there's Peruvian places. Now this isn't on Queen Street, but there's a new development that's just opened up at the bottom of Queen Street, which has an incredible food court, commercial bay, and I just went in there the other day for the first time, and there's all different. There's South American, and then there's Peruvian, Filipino. All different stuff, and it's fantastic, and these are people who've perhaps made New Zealand their home, and they want to bring their food culture to New Zealanders, but also to homesick, people from their country that want to eat that food. So
I think it's really cool as well, and it's good for everybody because people can have a taste from home, like you said, but it's so good for us that lives in New Zealand, and you are able to try different things, and
absolutely,
it's just some cuisines I just really like it, and I've tried it in New Zealand because it's so easy. You can find it everywhere. And another thing that I believe is quite cool as well, there are some small shops sometimes, like like I remember I was a butcher that was a South African.
There's South African butchers, and different ones. There'll be English butchers that do certain.
I guess like what is important for them, they kind of make a way, and they find a way to I don't know, to somehow make it to go make it find people. I'm just trying to find the word, exactly. But
but there's also Facebook and social media. There's all these groups for I've seen different things lately, people, there's French people in New Zealand, and German people in New Zealand, and Brazilians in New Zealand, and South Africans in New Zealand, and so on there they'll be like, has anyone tried the new South African restaurant, and blah blah blah, and so they get the word out through that as well. So
and I guess like some cities where they have a community of some country, let's say we've got some Koreans here, so they kind of put a little bit of Korean products in that, I don't know, local store, local supermarket, so that people can go there and get it. I've seen it quite a lot, and there are some like Indian specific places where they can go and get everything they need.
Absolutely.
I think you can find quite a wide range of things.
Yes, you can.
You just need to look for it, and you find it. My next question here was going to be like, how about snacks? Because some people, they really like their snacks, and it's just like, that chips, or that thing that I eat from home, and I guess it's pretty much the same.
Same. You find it at those different places, or you experiment and find something that you like, in New Zealand. So, but you will be able to get, popular brands of things from your home country, Definitely.
And like if they really, really like a specific one, and they want to get it from home because they can't really find it in New Zealand. Is that like easy? Can they buy online, or can they
Yeah,
family
more
shop
and more.
for them?
Yeah, more and more there's websites that do that, that are, that's their specific goal. And the only thing that might be, difficult is it may get stopped on the way in, depending on what it is. But if it's a snack, so say it's a potato chip and it's packaged and it's, cooked and it's in a bag and it's not fresh, it's not a piece of fruit, should be totally fine. So yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll be a very expensive bag of chips to have to get shipped from your home country. So you better be, really loving it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's like they need to remember that the same rules apply for products coming into New
Absolutely. Yeah.
Zealand with them or by post. It's the same thing. So
Yeah, that's
if they are
correct.
unsure, just have a look in the website. They will find out. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. If they really want something from home, it's better make it a really big box full of stuff,
Yeah.
because the postage,
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
be
it's very
quite
expensive.
expensive, right? And how about products bags such as shampoo, creams that people
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
specific brands?
Well, we've got, in New Zealand, we've got a lot of places where you can buy all your toiletries and different brands and so on. Depending on where you come from, you may find things quite expensive in New Zealand. But we have recently, an Australian chain called the Chemist Warehouse has come to New Zealand, and it really is a bit of a game changer because it has got really big brands at much cheaper prices. And, it's Australian, so it's not supporting New Zealand owned, but it gives you those things. So generally, you can get everything in New Zealand, but you will potentially pay more for it. So if there's a specific kind of deodorant, or I know when I've traveled for work in the past, and I've had people in my team at work that are from a certain country, and they say, oh, would you mind getting me this product because it's so much cheaper in the States. I'll often used to do that because I knew how much cheaper it was because I used to live in the States. So you go to the drugstores and they've got the aisles and everything's, $1 or $2 instead of $8 in New Zealand. So yeah, but you can get everything pretty much. But if you really love that brand, then bring 2 or 3 of them with you, when you come to New Zealand that first time. But you don't need to bring it because we do have deodorant here. And we do have face cream, and we do have shampoo and conditioner, and
Yeah.
lots of different brands. Yeah.
The thing is, like you said at the beginning of this video, with globalization, you can find pretty much everything everywhere, and the
Yeah.
brands are so similar. And
Yeah, they are.
sometimes they just change the name, but even like the bottle is the same. So it's the
Same as
same thing.
logo. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like a slightly different logo. Maybe they
Well, it'll
keep the
be,
colors.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just make it specific for that country, for the way
Yeah.
people are, for
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I don't know, to catch their attention.
Yeah.
But it's pretty much the same thing. So I guess most of the thing you can find, like the
Yeah.
big brands, you will find all over the world. And if not, you can always find something similar. That's what we're
Yeah.
saying here. I think for pretty much
What I
everything, you can
what
adapt.
I encourage though for things like skincare and hair and so on, there's some incredibly fantastic locally made New Zealand brands. I'm thinking of one in particular which has taken the world by storm, and it's really ethically made, and it's shampoos and face creams and so on, but it's not all packaged in plastic. It's it's just in its beautiful New Zealand style, essential oils and things like that in it as well. So it's just really great. We have great brands like the Eco Store, those sort of things. So you know what, support New Zealand made, and you won't have to lug it in your backpack when
Yeah.
you're making your way over
And
here.
yeah, and it's not only supporting New Zealand. I think lots of people are really interested in, like, I don't know, people care about nature, and
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
they want to do it, and they are
yeah,
already use eco-friendly products and
yeah,
like
yeah,
vegan products. And
yeah,
why not
yeah, yeah,
buying something for yourself, but not degrading the others, you know? It's just like,
yeah, exactly.
makes sense, and
Yeah,
it's really good products, you're right.
yeah, yeah,
I like it too.
yeah, definitely.
And in regards to clothes,
Mhm.
I know, like, I'm talking about clothes, but I just remember that I was supposed to mention something about sunscreen. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if it's true, but people say, like, each country, they have the sunscreen made for the intensity of the sun. So, like,
mm,
I remember when I was traveling, they say, oh, you should buy sunscreen like in New Zealand, because the sun is different there, is a little bit closer. So the
yeah.
sunscreen should be stronger, or have more things to protect you. I'm not sure if it's true. Like, have you heard
Wow.
anything about that?
Yeah, I have heard that. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I do believe that we in Australia, we have, there's a hole in the ozone layer above our countries, which means that there's a level of protection that is missing. So it means we get sunburned very quickly, and the intensity from the sun is a lot stronger than what it is in other places. And we have the highest rates of skin cancer in the world. So you have to be really careful. And I know people get really funny about it because they're like, but I want to get a tan. You still get tanned even when you're wearing sunscreen. You just won't get skin cancer. So that's a great thing. But our sunscreens here are made, especially the ones from the New Zealand Cancer Society. They make really good sunscreen, and there's some other really good New Zealand brands as well that are made to protect against the sun here. But also there's some great ones that are made that really work well with doing extreme activities and being outdoors and doing all that sort of stuff, which you're going to be doing when you're in New Zealand. So, that makes a huge difference as well. So,
Yeah, I don't know
yeah,
if it's true or not, but it kind of makes sense. And
yeah,
yeah, if you are
yeah.
unsure as well, just buy your sunscreen in New Zealand. So
Yes, exactly.
yeah,
You're going to have to buy it here anyway because you use it every day. So whatever you bring with you, you're going to run out pretty
yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. So going back to clothes now, that
yeah, clothing, yeah. So
the subject.
clothes again is like, globalization. You can get all these brands that you can get everywhere in the world in New Zealand. You can get there's some fantastic, again, New Zealand designers and New Zealand made, and really good quality and so on. In terms of things to bring with you, if you are, obviously if you're someone who spends a lot of time in the outdoors, you're going to have all of your layers, and that's what you need in New Zealand. You need layers. You need to be able to strip off a couple of layers because the sun's out and it's really hot, and then the sun goes and it gets really cold quickly, so you put those layers back on. So you want to bring all of your outdoors gear with you. Yes, you can get all that stuff here in New Zealand, but it's expensive and you already have it. So bring it with you. It's just one less thing to have to deal with when you get here.
Yeah,
But equally, if you don't bring it with you because you don't really do much outdoorsy stuff at home, you get to New Zealand and realize that actually there's walks on your doorstep. There's a beach down the road, there's all these things, so you can buy everything that you need here. But you will find it expensive. Yeah. There are cheaper brands of clothing in New Zealand now, but you really get what you pay for. So they're probably not the best quality, but they're easy. You can buy them. So yeah.
yeah. I think it's important to mention that, like, New Zealand is an island, is kind of far away from everywhere. So, like, stuff can be a little bit more expensive because they need to be shipped there.
Yeah.
And yeah, at the end of the day, if it comes from overseas, it's going to be a little bit more
Yeah.
dear than like
Yeah.
in your
Exactly.
home country.
Yeah.
But you can find really good material as well, like really
Beautiful
good
stuff.
clothes and really good quality gear for camping, for outdoor activities. So
Yeah.
if you do forget something, that's okay. You can always buy it in New Zealand. And the
Mhm.
important thing is to have everything, like Beck said. Uh,
Yeah.
the weather it can be quite crazy. It's 4 seasons in one day, like the song say.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes 4 seasons in 1 hour in Auckland. So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really good advice to have lots of layers and
Mm.
layers that actually protect you.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, but a jacket that uh, helps against the windy can be so handy. And
Yeah.
when you doing walks or just like I don't know, just doing activities, sports and stuff, it can be quite helpful
Yeah.
depending where you are, because the wind can be very strong as well in some parts of New Zealand, right?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's not that cold, but the windy makes you uncomfortable. And if you have the proper gear, you're fine.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
What would be the recommendation for the ones that are unsure about what should they bring or not for their work and travel in New Zealand? I think that the problem here is it's quite a long time. It's not like only I'm
Yeah.
going uh, for 15 days and checking the main points and then going back home. So like it's
Yeah.
not
You're
that
there for a
easy
longer
to know
time.
what to bring. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I think that you need to think about what do I do at home? Am I, outdoorsy, sporty? Then make sure you've got all that gear with you, as well as always have a nice going out outfit. If you're invited out for a meal with some people, you want to be able to wear something nice that's not your sort of travel jeans or those sort of things. But definitely bring all that sort of stuff. And if you don't, and remember too that whatever you do, you have to carry that gear with you wherever you go. If you're traveling around, so you don't want to have 3 suitcases because you can't travel by yourself with all of that all at once. And you stuff that I always think bringing stuff that washes and dries really quickly, so that when you are actually on the move traveling around, it's very easy to wash and dry things. It's very easy. You're going to want to buy things in New Zealand that you will end up taking home with you, like t-shirts, and those kind of things of places you've been to. So maybe bring less t-shirts with you because they're easy to buy, but make sure you pack your windproof jacket and maybe your waterproof jacket if you're sporty outdoors. If you do lots of hiking, bring your hiking boots and your trainers. You're going to wear trainers a lot when you're just out doing less extreme activities, when you're out exploring, and walking around towns and so on. But yeah, you definitely want to have good clothes for the kind of lifestyle that you normally and generally lead. But then you also, if you're going to be working, depending on what kind of work you're going to do, if you want to be doing more career officey work, you want to make sure you've got some good clothes for that. If you're going to be trying to work in hospitality, black pants, white top, that's pretty standard hospitality wear. Yeah, so just probably the top tip I always give people when you're packing your bag to come to New Zealand is lay it all out on the bed, everything you're going to bring, go away for a day, come back, get rid of about half of it, and then pack what's left and bring that with you. And remember, the things you don't bring with you, it's going to be super exciting when you go home after a year and you can wear that favorite t-shirt again, or that skirt, or that pair of shoes that you love. But yeah, you really just want to have stuff that is really going to help your lifestyle while you're here in New Zealand. So yeah, not sure if that's helpful or not, but you know, I just, yeah.
And somehow we understand that we need less than we think we need, right?
Yeah,
I think
totally. Just,
that's
yeah,
a good
yeah,
way to learn this lesson.
yeah, yeah. You
And
don't need to bring 5 pairs of jeans, you know? 2 pairs, you're going out pair and your everyday pair. That's totally fine. If you need to buy more, you can buy more, you know?
yeah.
You don't need 20 t-shirts. You can
And
bring
I
3
think
or
like
4.
a tip for people that usually miss food from home, because I guess uh, like the thing you miss the most is food, because food
Yeah,
is related somehow with, I don't know, with your heart and family, and brings lots of memories, right?
yeah, it
So
does.
I think that the top tip for the ones that will miss, that they're already thinking they will miss food from home, is learn how to cook.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
yeah,
they can always find the ingredients and put that flavor, and yeah, have that meal during the trips, and maybe cook for their friends and show uh, like what they have in their home country.
yeah,
And I don't know,
yeah,
it's just like it's a good way to make friends as well when you are cooking, and cook
yeah,
something from the heart. It's just
yeah.
lovely, right?
Yeah, and that's what you can bring when, you know, we have an expression in New Zealand when there's having a gathering and they say, oh, bring a plate. So they mean you bring a plate with food on it. You don't bring a plate to eat off. You bring a plate with food on it. And you should bring, if you're from overseas, it's great to bring food that you've made from your heart, which is from your home country, you know. People love to try. We love to try other food. So I've lived overseas a lot, and I always made, you know, New Zealand sort of things when I, you know, did that, and people loved it, you know, which was great.
I think
Yeah.
warms our heart, right?
Yeah,
And it's
totally.
just
Yeah.
like it's so good. And yeah, and then people can also eat things that they love.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, maybe just before traveling, make sure you know how to make the ones, the plates that you really like. I don't know, ask your mom, your grandmother, and
Yeah.
write some recipes. And yeah, I've done it myself, and I think like it was really good for me to try to make something that my mom used to make, that was very special for me, and now I know how to make as well. So it's another thing that you can do during your work and travel experience, is just like improve your cooking skills. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Okay, so I guess that's it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and we see you in the next video.
Okay. See
Bye
you.
bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, bye bye.